Hey there, vinyl community. So today, I wanted to talk a little bit about one of my longtime favorite recording artists, David Sylvian. And David Sylvian came from a band in the '80s. They were initially a glam rock band. Think of Roxy Music and that kind of a sound. It was Japan. And over first couple of records, Japan evolved into this band that was not quite so glam anymore, but becoming increasingly atmospheric and experimenting with sounds. They still remain very popular, especially in Europe, and had some kind of hits, I guess, in the 1980s. I have a compilation by them called Exercising Ghosts, but their albums are well worth checking out, especially their late period records like Gentlemen Take Polaroids. Great records and well worth hearing. Um, More than just well worth hearing. Fantastic records and some of the best music, as far as I'm concerned, to come out of the 1980s was Japan. Huge influence on bands like, think of like Duran Duran as being like a more pop version of what Japan was. And from there, David Sylvian leaves Japan and goes off on his own, really just as the band is like entering the top levels of their commercial aspect of what they're doing. So their last record is like their biggest, and their next record people are thinking are really going to be kind of a mainstream hit. And Sylvian says, nope, this isn't for me. I've got plans on my own. And he goes off and he makes a record on his own. And I actually think that he first collaborated with um, Ryuichi Sakamoto from Yellow Magic Orchestra. I think worked on his record and then did his first solo record, which is this Growing Trees. And yeah, this takes kind of what he was doing in Japan, maybe a step further. It's real close to that though. Lead track on it was called Pulling Punches, and very similar to what Japan was doing, and really easy to love. Great stuff if you like kind of atmospheric pop music. Um, yeah, this is really good. Like I said, I always heard that connection with Roxy Music in it, and I love Roxy Music. So his next record that he would do, Secrets of the Beehive. Now this would be a little different. This is more acoustic. Think atmospheric folk. Real nice. There's this track on here called September. It just kills me every time I hear it. Beautiful song. Um, there is some collaboration with Sakamoto on this, and another great record. And he's really hitting his stride right now. I love the cover too. Sylvian always had these great artistic. You could tell he spent a lot of time on them, and they're a real reflection of the music inside. So then, his third release, I think he really swings for the bleachers, and I think he really kind of creates his, I think his maybe his masterpiece, which is Gone to Earth. Moving more and more away from structure and form, more and more atmospheric, more and more subtle. It's a beautiful record, and it takes a little bit of time to get used to this, but it's well worth that time. Taking the Veil was kind of the lead track. I think there was even a single. Um, by the time he gets to the second, there's a 2 record set. By the time you get to that second side, you really see the form disintegrating, and a lot of those songs just become loops of sound over which poetry is read, and or readings, and some really Really amazing stuff. Highly recommended. Gone to Earth. So then after that, Sylvian goes on his career and creates uh, a lot of collaborations with people. He was always doing that, collaborating with members of Can and Yellow Magic Orchestra and lots of other folks too. Always interesting. When he kind of finally gets into the 1990s, and there's a compilation of some of his collaborations from that era that I wanted to show you, called Sleepwalkers. And I can't show this record because there's a woman's breasts, and I don't want to get in trouble with the YouTube police. But this is a great compilation, double record set. Originally came out on CD, and it pulls together a lot of his collaborations that he did during this period, and it's hangs together really well. It doesn't, for me anyway, feel like a compilation. It has a nice flow to it. A good way of getting caught up on some of his more recent efforts. A great record, Sleepwalkers. And then, so then you're kind of getting into the later period of Sylvian's career, and he does this. And it's kind of became a bit of a controversial record, I guess. A lot of people, he really abandons form and structure on this record and creates a really unique, highly experimental, very avant-garde album of kind of spoken word over beats and rhythms, and if you allow yourself to kind of give into it, there's a lot here to love, and this is a beautiful record, but you've got to let yourself take the time to appreciate it. This isn't pop music anymore. Sylvian's moved beyond that, and this is where it really comes into form. Great record. I had the CD when it first came out, and they did a reissue last year, and I think these are still available. This is highly recommended. I promise you that, if you like experimental music and you want something truly different and unique, I think you're gonna like this. But be ready for it. This is not, form and structure have been left behind. And be ready for the sound and textures of the voice and the atmosphere that's created from track to track. This is its own little world. And yeah, I love it. I think it's really, really good. Along those lines, when he was doing this record, he did a collaboration with Stephen Matthew, and they did this record. This got its first vinyl release last year, and this album almost acts as a companion piece to Blemish, and this is highly recommended. Really, really good. If you like experimental electronic music, yeah, you're gonna like this. And this is warm and atmospheric and glitchy and textury. In fact, what we're listening to right now was an album that I had not been aware of until a couple of years ago when Stunty played this on his live stream. And this is Matthews on his own. And this is a great record too. It hints a lot at where when Sylvian began to collaborate together, where that would kind of go. So if you like atmospheric, glitchy texture sounds with a lot of color and expression in them. There's a certain, to me anyway, there's a certain warmth to these recordings, and it really comes through. It's the kind of music you want to put on, sit back with somebody on the couch, and you know, enjoy the evening together. Anyway, there was one other record I wanted to show you. So, coming from Yellow Magic Orchestra, members did some collaborations on a record. Again, this is something that Stucky played on his live stream, and this was a record kind of at the time that got dismissed, kind of techno-poppy sound. I'd never heard of it before. There had been a reissue on a record label. What is it? It's We Release Whatever the Fuck We Want. Is that the name of it? I think that's it. But originally this came out on Wyndham Hills. So one day I just, after Stunty had played it, I'm in the record store and I'm looking through I always look through the New Age bin just to see what's in there. And I see this in the New Age bin. So it's kind of got dismissed because it was on Wyndham Hill as kind of New Agey. This is not New Age. This is, they just didn't know how to market this. And you can find this, I think I paid $3 for mine. You can find this really cheap, or you can get the reissue on that record label. It's a good record label to support, so well worth going either way. But it had a different cover. I think they changed the cover a little bit. But sometimes you can still find these in the used bin. It's another little aspect of Yellow Magic Orchestra's career that I think gets overlooked, and I just wanted to mention it. Anyway, so that's my David Sylvian overview. There's lots more albums and collaborations that he's done with different people that are, almost every one of them is worth hearing. I just showed you some of my favorites, and good luck, and yeah, thanks for watching.